We now take a look at the Mozambican market, and joining me is Capranzine Hunguana, who is Asset and Liability Manager at FNB in Mozambique. Capranzine, let's begin this morning. Good morning to you. GDP, we've just had GDP numbers out of the US, so it's a good place to start. Slowed down from 8%, which sounds pretty good, in the second quarter of 2012 to 6.8% in the third quarter. Is that a declining trend or a blip on an increase in GDP?
Hi, David. I believe it's just a blip in the long-term trend of GDP growth in Mozambique. This growth of 6.8% was still on the back of mining, and to a lesser degree, some growth that was seen in the transport industry. Mainly the railroads that are being built from Tete to Beira and Nacala, actually to provide the proper infrastructure to have the coal onto the sea. Still, this is not an adequate growth rate for Mozambique, since we know that it's coming from a very low base, and the government wants to see more growth coming from small and medium enterprises.
Looking at inflation, year-on-year inflation, the number coming out there down to 2.02% after 2.46%. That's a very low inflation figure. How long can it be kept there if the growth is sustained?
Well, we are likely to see a rise in inflation now in 2013. Indeed, the 2.02% is unprecedented in Mozambique. And this cannot be sustained if the government wants to have growth rates of 8.5%, which is actually the target for 2013.
And then the target of GDP growth of 8.4% in the context of what you said earlier, is that realistic?
It is realistic. There's still a lot of investment into mining and the transport sector. So we are likely to see growth in the region of 8.5% to 9% this year. And we must also remember that China grew by only 7.5% in 2012, and which is believed to be the trough in their growth rate. And it is expected that China will grow by double digits again in 2013, and that will possibly provide a major boost to the export market of Mozambique.
Looking at the economic growth in the context of what government is doing and the private sector is doing, the growth of public-private partnerships, Capranzine, and I'm thinking of the Grindrod arrangement, for example, with the Maputo port, which seems to have worked very well. Good for the government to have a private sector partner, good for Grindrod in terms of increased revenue. That seems to work.
It is working, and it is partnerships like this that provide opportunities for medium enterprises in Mozambique. And these transport routes from Maputo to Witbank and also from Beira to Harare are very, very important in providing proper roads and railways for the export markets of Gauteng and the Zimbabwean market as well.